Hey guys, how's it going? Afternoon art stream. That doesn't happen very often, but it's the day after Thanksgiving. Got a little free time. So, here we go. Yeah. Some chill music on for you. Nice relaxing time. Yeah. Tell you what. Yeah, we can do that, I guess. I don't know. This over a little, perhaps. Or not. So, what's new? There's a lot of new sort of video commercials out for the Alliance, and our media guy has figured out how to use AI to animate my art. So I'm telling you, seeing my line drawings come alive like that is extremely cool. It feels so cool. Like I say, these characters, they live in your mind, you know, and you try to animate them, you know, but to literally actually see how AI animates them is like beyond cool. Very cool stuff. Mucho coolio. So, I hope everyone's Thanksgiving weekend is going well. Mine could be better, but it's not terrible, and I'm keeping a positive attitude. Actually, it is going to get better because I've got a party to go to tonight, and very excited about that because it'll open the door up for meeting new people, meeting people closer to my age, which is important. If you follow this channel, you know that I go dancing a lot and just surrounded by 20-year-olds. Nothing wrong with being in your 20s. It's a great time of life. But when you're a little older than that, you kind of need people that you can relate to with more blah blah blah. So anyway, that'll be good. Das ist gut. Holidays are tough, you know. There's a lot of family problems and my mom's passing and all that kind of stuff. So it's not really the best time for me. I'm still in a phase where I don't like holidays because I have to deal with all that emotional baggage. I try to make the best out of it. I don't rain on anyone's parade, but there's a lot of people out there who've lost a loved one, and then holidays are rough. So this isn't new. Hello to Jason. Hello, Don. Glad to see you're not getting into any fist fights at the stores on Black Friday. You know, I actually need to get some new pants. So I was like, hey, it's Black Friday. Why don't I go get some? Nah, never mind. You know, can you imagine all the viral videos that are going to be coming out this evening from all of that? Oh, yeah. Black Friday, man. Tis the place for fighting, man. Come and get your deals, man. Anyway, that's just a little reggae inspiration there, so I had to do like a Jamaican accent. Going to get a beef jerky after this. It's starting to turn into an Irish accent. I better watch out. What's up with you, bro? Sorry, I'm a little goofy today. Jason, how was your Thanksgiving? Mine was very modest. It was just my son and I. Because when you're not vaccinated, you're not allowed to family events. Okay, settle down. Sorry to hear about your mom. Yeah. She's definitely lingering. She's still around. I talk to her. I say goodnight to her every night. She has, like, I have her chair that she used to, sit in, and I lean over and give her a hug goodnight in her chair. It's a kind of a nightly ritual that I have. My thinking is that, like, when people pass, I'm pretty sure that they still see us, that they still kind of watch over us, So, like, it would be the right thing to do to acknowledge them, you know what I mean? And not ignore them or what. It's not like anyone's ignoring them. It's just that we've lost the practice of ancestor worship, which was very normal before Christianity. And that kind of got pushed to the side, I guess. Maybe, I don't know who or how or when or what, but after living in Asia and I saw how they do ancestor worship and etc., and then a lot of other reading and contemplating and what have you, it just occurred to me, like, yeah, it's not worship. I'm not worshiping my ancestors, like I would worship God or something. And instead, it's maintaining relationships with them, even though we're on two sides of the veil. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. And I'll be honest with you, I can really genuinely feel an electromagnetic energy, a presence. There's times when I feel like my mom is like pulling me into her when I hug her goodnight. It's quite profound. Sorry about that. Feels good. It's pretty. It's like very reassuring, Not really concerned with like what people think of me or this, in terms of people believing or not believing. That's not my concern. I hear what you're saying. Wow, cool. Have you ever had any paranormal experiences? That would be an interesting conversation. Muy interesanto. Sorry. I pretend that I speak Spanish sometimes. It's very annoying. It's like me pretending to be pretentious for fun, It's like when people go to eat, I'll say bon appetit. No, I don't really say that. It's a joke. Bon appetit, get it? Bon appetit. Very annoying. I don't know, sometimes those things are funny. If you got the sense of humor for it, I guess. So, what's else? It's all right, man. Oh, hey, not Tree DB is here. No Tree DB is here. Good to have you here. So, right, man, New York, my respect and sorry about your mom. Hold your head up high, man. God bless you, brother. I'm sending you a hug right now, man. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing to say. Definitely not gonna turn this into like a grieving stream, you know. Don't wanna, go down that lane. I did quite a bit of, you know, that kind of stuff last night or during the day during Thanksgiving, but you know, it's okay. It really is okay, because we're gonna meet again in the next dimension. The good news is we all die in the end. No more taxes. Yay! I know that's a little morbid. Sorry. Anyway. Jason says, I don't think I've had any paranormal experiences, but I do understand thinking about loved ones that have passed, perhaps imagining what they would say to you is present. For sure. Yeah. Hooray. I have had paranormal experiences, like many. I'll tell you probably one of the most amazing ones right now, and this will be kind of in honor of my mother. So, I won't again. I'm not turning this show into the big sad show. It's not. It's not that. I'm just sharing a really, really amazing story with you guys. So, okay, my mom was on life support. I was the guy that had to sign the paper and take her off. So that's pretty heavy. Imagine having to do that for your own mother. Try to imagine how that would feel. So my family blamed her death on me because she wasn't vaccinated. I'm not vaccinated. I've done my research. I understand the medical industry. I know the whole thing. And she was a nurse for 60 years. So I showed her the data. She made her own choices, and she didn't get vaccinated. So I'm not going to go into the kind of personal details of what she was sick with or anything like that, but I personally believe she was murdered by the medical industry, and I'll stop there. But that's not what my family believed, and there's a certain person in my family that made it her job to like convince everybody to turn on me. Anyway, so when right after this event, they all got together and had like a big, kind of like a wake, where they were together and helping each other to grieve and go through this thing. But I wasn't allowed to attend. They left me home alone after doing this. Try to imagine how cruel, viciously cruel that is. So I'm home alone. I'm on the phone with a very dear friend of mine, losing my mind, absolutely losing my mind. I'm totally losing it. And I'm in a real state of trauma. And as I'm talking to my friend about all this that's happening to me, out of the corner of my eye, I'm in my mom's house, by the way, okay? I'm in the kitchen, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something moving in the living room by my mom's television. And I notice, excuse me, that they're balloons from her birthday party, from some months ago. And they're her balloons, right? So, and they're kind of swaying back and forth, and I'm like, there's no reason that balloons would sway back and forth inside the house. There's no breeze in here. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. And so there's a light next to the television in front of these balloons. And it's one of those kind of lights that you have to touch it with your hand to make it go on. So there's no switch anywhere. You touch it once and it goes on low. You touch it twice, goes on medium. You touch it 3 times, goes on high. Well, I see the balloons moving, and I'm like, what? And then it just dawned on me, is that mom? Is that is that her? Is she trying to communicate? And I yelled across the room, I said, Mom? And then the light that I'm telling you about just went on. And like I said, it's a light that you have to touch it to make it go on. And I lost my mind, Mom, And then when I screamed, Mom, again, then the light went off and on and off and on and off and on. And not just off and on, but like off, high, medium, off, low, medium, high, off, medium, off, high, off, medium, low. It was just going all over the place, just all over the place. So she was clearly, activating the light, and I was, Mom, and you can imagine, like right now, I'm just kind of choked up talking about it. Whew. Oh my God. So it's kind of, it's not funny, but like, what's funny in a sense is that I'm crying more about my family betraying me at my lowest than losing my mom in a way. Like the cruelty of that is so beyond my imagination. I can't even fathom how. And I mean, I was always very close to my family. We never had any problems, until Trump came, and then all that shit started going down. And it was, they were just basically weaponized against any kind of conservatives and whatever. And we never talked politics in the family. It was just, just family stuff, just chill, fun, silly stuff, whatever's going on, And they were totally like brainwashed by the mainstream media, totally. I just saw a really great interview with Nick Fuentes about how the media has turned the left into a kind of violent, sort of radicalized the left for political violence. And he gives several examples. Of course, everybody knows about the Charlie Kirk stuff and all the rest of it. But like that just came home. That came home to roost like that. That's literally my life, But to look back though, and to see that, that kind of supernatural experience, it's very rare that people can have that, and it's extremely precious. So I take it very, very seriously. And that's why I have this nightly ritual where I say goodnight to my mom and, give her a hug and, in a sense, I behave as if she's in the room, So to some extent, you could say that, the death is the astral plane. It's the fourth, fifth, sixth, and it's all the dimensions above the third dimension where we live. And so that being the case, how can I put this? These other dimensions subsume our dimension. So that means that our dimension is captured inside that dimension, which means that they can see us, they can hear us. You know what I'm saying? So that being the case, and then again with knowledge of how like all these other cultures around the world have what we call ancestor worship, which is really such a false thing to say. It like calling it worship is a sort of a Christian psyop. It's like a way of worshiping something else. Oh, that's a sin. Why are we ignoring our ancestors? Why are we? It's beyond rude. It's cold. It's cruel. You should be talking to your ancestors in prayer. leave a place for them, at the dinner table on holidays or something, like commemorate things, I think you guys get my point. Let me read some responses here before I move on. Howdy from across the big pond. Hello to Colin Bruder. That would be terrifying. Wow. It's all good, man. I know what it feels like to be betrayed by people who once. I'm sorry that you went through that. That's beautiful, bro. I'm so happy you came, man. I'm really, really happy you're here, and thank you for your kind words. That's much appreciated. But again, I'm not. How do we put this? It's like when you have knowledge of death and these types of things, you live life very differently. You don't live life like vicariously or in a way where you just don't take things seriously. Like I'm going to a party tonight, for example, but I'm gonna really pay attention to the people that I meet. And I'm gonna zoom in on like where are they at in their life, in their spiritual progress, and see in a sense what I can do for them. What do I have to share? What that could maybe help them or give them some sense of confidence, comfort, validation. It's a thing. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but it's a thing. Let's put it that way. And that's not all, but so the study of hermetics has been something I've been doing with a friend, and it's been good. I'm still not at a place where I think I can talk about it like professionally it's more experimental at this point. But the understanding of let's say like the law of frequency and the law of gender and balance and all these kinds of things, they're really, really good things to have in mind. And so like when bad times come into your life, you can kind of see it as like, okay, this is just temporary, And not only that, the cosmic pendulum is going to swing, in such a way. Oh shoot, that was wrong. I made a terrible mistake in the art. Wrong guy. I guess I'm gonna have to Photoshop that later. So, oh well. So that's what happens when you're talking and not paying attention to your job. But it's an easy fix, so don't worry. I'm gonna make a little note in pencil though. So what else? Fix hand. Okay. Woohoo! Crazy times. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? You want to talk about Nick Fuentes or holidays or my upcoming plans? I want to talk about the Alliance graphic novel, movies that you've seen, women. Had a little breakup myself recently, so I'm kind of in that like that zone. The zone, but it's okay. It's okay. It's like lesson learned. That's beautiful. So no tree says, dude, your art along with your commentary, I feel like it's so unique and amazing. Serious. If you feel that way, then you have just hit the freaking jackpot, bro, because this almost this whole channel is that. Like you can scroll and scroll, and you'll see a bazillion uh, art streams like this, where I go deep on politics, spirituality, talk about martial arts, talk about UFOs, occult, Christianity, Buddhism, Hermeticism, the Jews, on the right wing, the far right, feds, like everything. I cover some. It's quite a show. It's funny because I'm literally just like a small potatoes dude out here on the internet. I used to be somewhat of a celebrity, a small scale celebrity in the alt right back in those days. Times changed, things changed. I took time off after my mom passed, and now I am reinventing myself, and I'm developing a new show for January 2026. It's a arts and culture review of the far right, of the right wing. Not exclusively far right. I want it to be open to normie writers, right wingers, if you will, like people who are leaving the MAGA farm. I'm really big into America First right now, so that would be pretty sick if somehow I could connect with that audience. It's going to be a long-term project, so I'll be featuring the art and music of and video and any kind of arts and culture from our spheres. So, like, for example, if you go on Instagram, you probably see in your algorithm crazy, funny, cool reels of like Kanye music set to like Hyperborean animations and who knows what, just crazy, funny, cool stuff. So I love that culture. That's our like niche, semi underground online culture, and I want to do a arts review show. So I used to be an art teacher, and I created this documentary series on this channel called Imperium Art, and we interviewed all of the top influencers in the dissident right about the role of the arts in our political struggle, our existential struggle. And so that's a pretty huge deal. That's a big, it's a big deal. And then, so this new show is, in a sense, going to be kind of bouncing off of that. Granted, yeah, it's been some years since I really have been out here. Dude, you're so yeah. So I'm coming back basically, and I don't. The idea though is to create a fun show, an entertaining show that is more like us enjoying ourselves. Like I've done the academic stuff, and I'm pretty much like, okay, I did that. I'm ready to kind of move on to a different vibe, a different aesthetic, even. So it's going to be a multimedia show. Now, granted, I am experimenting with the technology to make this happen. And so far, the technology is not cooperating with me. So I have some tech issues I still have to wrap up. But do you guys know Millennial? Millennial Woes, Millennial. If you are in the dissident right, you would definitely know. Chatelet. See, Flash knows. Anyway, I'm going to be on Millennial Woes holiday program. That's on December 29th, I believe. And I'm going to be announcing all this stuff on that show. So that's one of the major yearly events is this Millennial Woes show, Millennial, and everybody tunes into it. It's kind of like, it's sort of just like a yearly check-in where we all kind of see like, hey, what's going on in the movement? Who are the new content producers? What's going on in the movement in general? Hot takes, this and that. Interesting, worth a look, I'd say, indeedy. Strongly recommend it. So Millennial Woes is the name of the dude who does the show. He's from Scotland. Colin something, I forget his last name. But he's been in the game for a long time. He's one of the OGs. I'm becoming one of the old G's. Not really. That's if you consider people like, Kevin McDonald or David Duke. Those are the old OGs. Anyway, what else is going down? Lots of crazy cool stuff. So an aspect of that is, and I'm not allowed really to talk about it in detail yet because it's not locked in stone as of yet, but I am on a committee of people who we're pretty much looking to, I'm not going to say bring back the White Art Collective, but to create something that is similar, I guess, for lack of a better word. Nothing will ever be the same as White Art Collective. That was its own thing. It was its own vibe. But it broke the ice. It started something new. It created a culture. It showed people like, wow, we have artists and creators, and we've got this whole world of other stuff inside our culture here. And that's the thing. So I was close friends with Jeff Winston, who created the White Art Collective, and I have the honored title of being a founding member of the White Art Collective, so that's pretty cool. And as such, being on this committee and trying to sort of kickstart the arts again inside the movement, it's what I would do. I'm like the guy. I'm the go-to guy for that. I'm not the only person out here, but there were a lot of people that got. I don't want to sort of get into it because it could be harmful to them, but there were a lot of people that got hurt, and that they had to like go incognito, and so they're kind of out there, but not in the capacity of the White Art Collective, where we were all, making weekly shows and doing all kinds of content stuff. Some people have, I wouldn't say that they left the movement in the sense that they don't agree with the cause, but for whatever their personal reasons, in many cases it'd be like, they had kids or something, and then they needed to kind of like focus on that or something. But I don't know, it's there, people come and people go. Some people get really disillusioned with the spurgy, what would you call that? Like, sort of a spurg culture inside here, where people, they fight online and there's a lot of infighting and all this horse shit like that. I'm really against that kind of shit, as you can imagine. Flash says lots of people were fed up of the ungratefulness and looting from usurpers. So Flash could go into detail on that topic more than myself, but the short version of it is that it's sort of like all these grifters kind of came out of nowhere, and they were using our talking points, and then suddenly, and this stuff still happens, and then you're like, wow, how does this guy have like tens of thousands of viewers, and I've never heard of him before. He just came out of fucking nowhere, and then fill in the blanks. There are people that are coming up organically. There's I'm not in a paranoid zone where like all new grifters are bad or so I'm not saying that. But you've got like the BAP tards, you got, I don't know, help me out, what other ones? It's just a variety of like shady players. It amazes me that anybody still follows BAP. I think that's been exposed. Like, why would you still pay attention to that, It's kind of like the PSYOP right now. I think it's in Michigan. There's a guy who is kind of like leading this sort of movement of Christians against the Muslim takeover of his town. And you see it and you're like, yeah, awesome, that's great. Finally Christians are standing up. And then some 4chan poll guy like does some research on the dude, and it turns out he's actually Jewish, pretending to be a white Christian. And then you're like, what? What? Like, why? What? So the way of looking at, understanding, framing this is that rabbis, if you follow, like, say, what's his name, Adam Green, or you just like pay attention and that's in your algorithm. World War III is meant to be between Christians and Muslims. That's the new war that they're trying to start, and the Zionist agenda behind that is for us to kill each other off and lower the population so much so that it's a big it's like Agenda 21, but without the vaccine, So it's part of that kind of Zionist worldview, Simultaneously, rabbis have also said, like, if Christians and Muslims were to ever join and turn on us, we would be finished, So that's something to put in your pipe and smoke it. Pretty hard to be, I don't know what's the word, like, to work with to Muslims, because they have their agenda already. They're not that much different from the Jews in the regard that they see us as like animals and just here to like take away from us, take our land, take everything, They don't hide it at all. They're not, this isn't like a big surprise, What it boils down to us is us standing up against it, So I am for that, but I'm not for it being led by a Jew who's pretending to be a white Christian. You see, this is going to be some trickery going on there. I'm going to back out of this. Lots of people were fed up. I read that already. Okay. This character is called Tradcat, and it's a play on the term trad cath, like trad Catholic. I always seem to kind of corner myself. I like paint myself into a corner with this topic about, you know, kind of militarizing, Christians, whites, in a way that would save our countries, and I don't. It's obviously not something you can talk about without getting in some trouble. That's how they get you. Make it so that people can't talk about things, and then we'll just slowly take over. All right. What else is going on? It's funny because I'm in my head. I'm like sort of reviewing all the things I can and can't talk about. Some of the things are like just sort of personal, like my personal life stuff. But I pay very, very close attention to the whole Nick Fuentes phenomenon. I'm watching it real close. I get that not everyone is a fan or whatever. That's fine. But I think it's important to pay attention. So my buddy, the writer of this graphic novel, he and I are talking about doing shows. We're reaching out to different people. I actually just reached out to Uber Boyo. You guys know Uber Boyo? He is an Irish streamer, philosopher dude. He's really, really into Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. And he's had Jason Reza Giorgiani on the show several times. It's funny because Jason, I'd say, is actually a pretty controversial figure right now in ways. If you follow him, you kind of know, like the variety of things going on in his world and stuff. But he's a really important, really, really important thinker in our time. I don't know anybody who is as intelligent as him. He's got to be the most intelligent guy that existed on in the internet anyway. You know what I mean? So maybe there's more. There's some dude sitting in his garage in Cleveland or something. But should I do more on that? I don't think I kind of don't want to overdo it. I sort of feel like that's probably enough. But where am I going with this? Let's see. How's the weather where you guys are? Is it like insanely cold or just cold? We have like high winds and low temperatures here, so it's but it's kind of partly cloudy, half sunny. There's something about like November to me, like November and February are probably two of the most depressing months of the year. November because you're like, shit, it's over. You know, like fall is over. Halloween's gone. It's getting cold. The leaves are really falling off the trees and everything's getting gray. You get these like heavy metal gray skies that are very oppressive and like, you know, and then like seeing the trees without the leaves on them is pretty sad in a way but in a way that's almost artistic and beautiful though too. There's some kind of, you feel like you're in an indie film, you know what I mean? Like you're walking around in your own film. And I don't know, it brings to mind certain things. Like I certainly have lots and lots of memories of my childhood at that time. Happier days where my friends and I would be out playing football at somebody's backyard, even in this weather. You know, I can remember going hiking and like just exploring the woods in this kind of weather with friends and just in a sense fighting against winter, like being like I'm not ready to accept this, you know, I'm not gonna let it, and it's just squeezing everything out of the end of the year, you know, it's the end of the year. And of course in school, there's like, oh, you know, we gotta have decorations for the holidays, and there's a kind of an anxiousness that, oh, you know, Christmas vacation's coming, yay, we got a big vacation. It's okay, shut up and go back to work, study. Oh crap, you know, yeah, but what are we gonna do on Christmas vacation, or what toys are you gonna get for Christmas, or you know, it's sort of kind of a romantic time of year. It's all that romantic Christmas music. I've always been like a romantic fool, absolute, total fool, complete idiot for love. So there's always some side to it there, you know. But some girl I had a crush on or something like that. But yeah, and then you know, then the white stuff comes, and then it's like existence itself is just a hardship, you know, like everything takes longer, everything takes more effort. You're uncomfortable so much of the time because of the fucking cold. But when you're a kid, it's like, hey, let's go sledding, yay! You know, you don't. Let's make a snowman, yay! You know, you don't care that it's horribly cold out. You know, as an adult, not so much. You know, a little less of that. You know. But yeah, it's tough because like I don't have anybody for the holidays, you know. I've got just very few people. It's more about my friends. I've been having Christmas dinner at my a friend's house. Like he invites me every year now because of my family betraying me. So your friends are your family in many ways, you know. So I'm excited to see what new friends I'm gonna make tonight at this party. So the guy inviting me is an old friend who I'm not in touch with much, but you know, when my mom passed away, he kind of reached out and kind of got himself into my life. Just you know, on the whatever here, checking in on you, kind of thing. And so he's having a party tonight, and I don't want to like jinx it or whatever, but I have like a really strong feeling that something wonderful is going to happen tonight. So maybe that's all I should say. Maybe I'm just a silly Billy. There we go. So I gotta crank these pages out. It's Christmas is around the corner, and we gotta get this thing out there. So next couple days, it's gonna be a lot of work, cranking, grinding. I do have this sort of like a Thanksgiving dinner thing with my coworkers' family, and it's a little awkward. I mean, it's very nice of them to invite me because they know my situation. So that's nice. We're really different kind of people, though, in a sense. So like, I kind of have to be who they want me to be while I'm in that circumstance. I don't want to, you know, I want to maintain those friendships and good relations or whatever. But I shouldn't poo-poo that. That's a good thing. They're being very kind to me. But anyway. It's funny, I always have so much to say, but for some reason today I'm just kind of blanking out a bit. Sort of depending on you guys to. Hey, Chief Moody! Evening, hello. What time is it in Scotland, Mr. Moody, the High Chief? Just curious. How's your show going, buddy? What news have you been covering on your show recently? I try to tune in to Mark Collette's show when I get a chance, but I'm always at work because of the time difference. It's tough, but you know, I have a general idea what's going on in the world, though. You know, so I'm fairly plugged in. Maybe not so much in Europe as America, but overall, you know. I don't know, what do you think about Europe and America, like, becoming one super state with, like, Mark Collette as the president? I'm in. Chief Moody as vice president. Holy cow. I'll be the head of, like, the arts department, arts and culture. We start the Department of Nationalist Comic Books. There you go. Oh my gosh, just imagine. Take over Hollywood. Kick out all the you-know-whos. make heroic movies about us, tell the truth about history. Imagine a Hollywood that told the truth about history. Wow. I was perusing some movies last night, and every single movie on like Nazi Germany and World War II is always, you just look at it and you're like, man, it'd be great to have just one single film I could watch. It's not bogus. Nope. Everything is social engineering. It's 9:20 p.m. I haven't been doing my show for a while. Uh-oh. It's a lot of work putting together shows. You know what I mean? Speaking of which, I am preparing to make my own new show. So I'm kind of working out some technical difficulties with the technology. The new show is going to have a lot of multimedia in it, and as such, I got to have good internet. You know what I'm saying? And I did a test show, and it was real laggy and just bad. Just choppy, laggy. Not through the whole show, but it shouldn't be laggy at all. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, shit. What am I gonna do? So I did a little, research. What causes this problem? How do you fix it? Blah blah blah. And I'll try that out. My plate's full at the moment. I mean, it's a holiday weekend here. I got family. Some family's in from out of town that I do talk to, and I got a party tonight. Party. I'm gonna go dancing tomorrow night after the family dinner. What else? But then it's just crunch time. I'm gonna be on Millennial Woe's show this year. I'm talking to Chief Moody here. Hello to Colovrat. Excellent. Rexus is back. Rexus says that's why I prefer Darkwood. Their songs give respect to both sides, from the Germans to the Russians to the British to the Italians. Wow, fascinating. No More Brother Wars. That's the new song. Speaking of new songs, I do have a sort of agreement with two friends of mine about starting a band, but it's more of a studio recording band than like a play out band. And the musical nature of that project is more indie shoegazing kind of. I don't know if shoegazing is really the proper term for that, but like lo-fi-ish kind of, if that makes sense. It's not like the kind of sort of indie classic rock that I usually write. The guitar player has his own aesthetic, his own vibe, his own style, which I love. It's really, really, really good. But it's just your kind of three-piece indie band. I'm gonna do all the vocals. I'll write the words and do that. But it's not gonna be political per se. I'm thinking I might actually sneak in, like write lyrics that they don't understand, but you guys would understand. You get my point? Oh my God! Don't tell them I said that, okay? But like they've these are the guys that are like, dude, every time I'm around you, you talk about the Jews, like, all right, I'll stop. So, my answer to that was like, well, that's because they keep doing new shit. And then they laugh. Like, they get it. They don't deny the reality of it, but they're not like invested in the movement. Not like I am anyway. They want, they're sort of conservative, like, whatever. But not everybody's part of the movement. The one dude, primarily because of his like Christian, he's got that kind of Christian. What do you call it? Like, if it's not in the Bible, it's not real. That type of like, oh, we win in the end, so I don't have to do anything. That type of bullshit. No, you do have to do something. You gotta get your fucking sword on. Get your crusader costume on, buddy. Because we do have a lot to do. It sickens me how like people will use Christianity to not fight for the white race. Think about that. Think about that. Oh well, we're all one. We're all God's children. Well, if that's so, then wouldn't God want to save the white race? Well, but I'm not racist. Like that cuckery. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just not like in a angry mood anymore. I'm not gonna move forward in my life being like angry all the time. I think it was a time when I really, really was, and it's not really spiritually responsible. It's natural. I'm not saying don't be angry. Hello to Etta Volk. Woohoo! My girl. Awesome sauce. Oh my God, Etta. Do you want to talk about your show, Etta? You want to talk? Is there anything you want to discuss? We could go for that. Dogma. Rexa says maybe it's dogma. I don't know. Lord knows. Lord knows I tried. All right, let's get into it. Etta, how much? I don't know. I should probably. We'll save that for an email conversation. But I will just say that this is a very much a free speech zone, and I encourage people to talk freely about whatever they want to. So I'm just gonna put that out there. This marker is too dry. No kendo. There we go. And we got you're in good company. Like the people that follow this show are in the know, Definitely a lot of respect, a lot of love for this crowd, the good people. Yeah, better we discuss privately first. All right, well, there you go. And now you know. Okay, cool. Okay. So what was I talking about? Well, I'll go back a bit and talk about this variety show that I'm working on. So, the new Donald Kent Variety, Arts and Culture Variety Show. There's, over the past several years, I've tried so many times to start a variety of projects, and for this reason or that reason, this worked, that didn't work, something. And now I'm kind of like, whatever. How was everything's thing? Well, mine wasn't very good, but anybody else can answer that question if you want. So, starting a new show. And the show is the culture. The show is the place to be where, we come together and share and enjoy music, art, craft, media, video media, things that are about us and for us. And so I'm working on that. So I don't know if anyone has any technical knowledge, but I'm using StreamYard, and then on my laptop I show a variety of different media, and it gets laggy. So I've talked to a number of people about this, and some people are saying it's like, I think it's called a CPU. It's like your, basically kind of like the engine of your computer, I guess, and that it can't handle all this information, and you got to do something about that. I asked AI, you know, I've got this problem. How do I fix it? Give me a number of options of things I can do. Turn on and off your router. Some people laugh at that, but whatever. Rexa says, all I know is that I'm just writing, and everyone is starting to say that I'm a goth in the 1980s sense. Other than that, my Thanksgiving was normal. Do you look goth? Is that a thing? Maybe you need more RAM. Can you put RAM into a laptop, though? I don't know. But I did think the same thing. The question came to mind. Maybe I need more RAM. So I'm figuring I'm probably gonna have to like dump a bunch of stuff that I have. Maybe my computer's pretty old, and it's most likely got just tons of stuff on it that probably could go, and that'll lighten the load. Your new project looks badass. How was it? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. If you think this is badass, wait till you see the animations. Holy cow. They're amazing. I'm telling you, I'm like crazy about them. Did I send you that? I don't know if I sent you the animations, but they're putting new ones out, and they're freaking sick. They're just so sick. To see my art come to life in this way is mind blowing. It just feels so good. So our media guy, he figured out a way to use AI to literally animate my comics drawings, and so they're my drawings, and I can't start. I mean, it's like so good. It's so freaking cool. And it makes me so happy. So I'm really, really pleased with it. And then the writers turning it into commercials, so they're kind of like, little commercial clips that we can share on Twitter or wherever, here or there. My thinking is that Comicsgate is the low-hanging fruit, that'll be the first sort of area to go to for marketing this book. We shall see. I don't know. We shall see. Anyway. Depends, a computer store may be able to do it. Well, Rex, you're going for that kind of look, then that's good. Glad you had a good Thanksgiving. No, it's mainly because of the music I listen to. Magic metal, black metal, and neo folk. Wow. Okay, interesting. I wonder if you can create drawings of the SS fighting the commies and tell the real history through that. I absolutely can. I absolutely can. Let me tell you about my comic, that when I'm done with this, I'm going to switch over and get back to doing my graphic novel. So my graphic novel is for subscription on Substack. You just look up Donald Kent Art on Substack, you'll find me. And so I have a story that I wrote and am illustrating. It's I'm kind of feeling like I maybe want to change the name of the story, but it's called Militia Man and MAGA Force. It's a superhero story. And it's a bait and switch because Militia Man and MAGA Force becomes Dark MAGA and Fash Force. And it, how Militia Man goes on his villain arc, and how he discovers all that. It's all to do with the stuff that is part of our culture that we know about. So if you could combine Captain America and Superman into one character, that's Militia Man. And he starts off as the leader of this team called MAGA Force, and they're, beloved by America, and they do these like Trump-style rallies, and they're sponsored by a news agency called Judeo-Christian News. Well, go figure. And the secret CEOs of Judeo-Christian News are a blood-drinking cult that are trying to bring a demon to Earth through like a CERN-style portal. The name of the demon is called Noahide. And so, like, I know that Etta, I know that you know these words and you know what I'm talking about. How I'm using, these ideas from our movement, and I'm kind of like personifying them into these allegories, basically. So the average Joe Schmo or whatever comic book reader may or may not know those things. But actually, when I wrote it and started doing it, I don't know, it was a different time. And so now we're in this time, and it seems like things have changed so much. Everybody knows about Judeo-Christian News. That's essentially Ben Shapiro and that lot, those people. And they know, that's controlled opposition and all that stuff. So the public is probably more informed now about all of these factors than they've ever been. Illustrating a graphic novel is insanely time consuming and probably a bad idea, in terms of like, well, if you wanted to make media about our cause, you should be doing smaller pieces that are like, you can do one a week and pump them out, and they could just be memed and blah, 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 all of that, So I did actually think of kind of revamping the project as like a weekly webcomic, and even giving it away for free, so that the story gets out there, you know what I mean? What do you guys think of that? Instead of kind of like an ongoing webcomic that you pay for at Substack. Does that make sense? Edda says, very smart, I like it. Okay, we'll do. Maybe use the Noahide laws as part of the story. It's kind of all in there, per se. Believe me, there's a ton of stuff in the story that is like, you're not allowed to say that. There's a lot. So, but it's done in such a way that I think is palatable for sort of the common person. It's not like racist or anything like that. It doesn't have Although at the same time, it portrays certain people in a very truthful way. That it's like, yeah, these people do act like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. It's kind of a mixture, I guess. You'll have to see it to believe it. See it to believe it. Or believing is seeing. That's another way to put it. Sounds awesome. It's brilliant. Cool. I'm glad you like it. Yes, teasers so people can see what. You know what? Maybe I'll pull out a couple pages from that and let you see it. So let's do that. Let's take a tiny break from this and I'll show you some Militia Man stuff. In fact, um, give me 10 seconds here, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Um, well, so that's Militia Man. If you look at the people in the crowd, you can see like disgruntled MAGA dudes. What do you call these guys? Something bros. What are they called? They're like the military guys that are like libertarian. Forget there's a name for that. You got the rebel soldier from the south. You know, you got a couple fedora wearers. They've got tiki torches like in a certain Charlottesville event, and so you can see something's going on here. You know, that just gives you a little flavor for this. Yeah, it's too big to go into right now, frankly. But it's pretty cool. There's a million videos on it that I did before of me just like, drawing that story before I did this story. My friend Johnny Midnight has offered to an editor for my story because it's very anti-Hirschfield in its nature. Good for you. Good for you. Just need a little refreshment here. Give me a second. It's 4:44 right now. I don't know what your clocks say or whatever, wherever you are, but that's what my clock says. Now, why is that interesting? I think it's going to take off big. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. Yeah, if I can get it done. So anyway, but let's get back to the mystical isms. So why is it 4:44? So this is a synchronicity. Every day, often a few times a day, I'll randomly look at the clock and it'll be 10:10, 11:11, 12:12, 1:1, 1, 2:22, 3:33, and now it's 4:44. And it's so crazy. This happens so often and so regularly that in the middle of the night sometimes I'll be sleeping and my phone will go bing and I'll be like, oh, like did I get a text or something? And I'll get up and look at it and it'll say 333 222. So it's like, what the hell is going on? It's really, I know what's going on. It's synchronicity. But like, it's just so crazy that even in the middle of the night, that stuff happens. That's pretty intense. Yeah, when you said that, I thought the same as after Synchronicity. Rex, good. Glad you're gonna expose filth. Let's get a message here. Hirschfield pervert. Yeah, big time. Let's go back. Let's continue. I'm writing. It is editing. Ideology. Birth by Magnus. We're against. Yes, good. Yeah, we gotta get out there, and we gotta do the work. We gotta make the media. Our people are starving for media that is not woke. They're starving for media where we are the heroes. They're starving for the truth, and you gotta give it to them. Well, it's reggae night tonight, huh? I don't normally play this kind of music. It's like slightly psychedelic. I really just want some chill music. I'm trying to concentrate on the work here. Sometimes the like synthwave and that stuff, it gets on my nerves a bit. It's like, I don't know. It's nice to have something a little different. Absolutely. Yep. Um, but yeah, these art stream shows are a lot of like stream of consciousness, a lot of just cool chat. People in the chat that come up with stuff that we want to talk about. Whatever's going on in the news or in people's lives, and they've been really amazing, to be honest. There's like we have a lot of pretty cool chats, good people, and there's people that come and go. Like certain people that have kind of more of an expertise in one thing than another. I'm interested in stuff like UFOs and weird stuff like that, Hermeticism, and I'll sometimes go into those sorts of topics. Yeah. I'm also in a place where it's like, if there's something really exciting, I'll talk about it. But if it's just more of the same shit that comes every single day, I don't, not gonna waste my time on that. Like, oh, some people got shot somewhere. It's like, Oh, another psyop. Wow, big surprise. I read tarot. Oh, that's neat. When I was in high school, I tried to learn runes. I wanted to learn how to do runes. This was just kind of a fun thing. I bought a book, and you whatever. But I do have some friends that are really into tarot reading. I will say what's pretty funny is that I have, and like my son can attest to this. Every time we go to a Chinese restaurant and I read my little cookie at the end, it's spot on. It's freaking, like it's a joke between us because I always say, look, like, hey, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear right now, because of whatever situation I'm in. And so he doesn't believe in that kind of stuff. He's like, oh. But yet when it happens, we have to laugh, because it's like, oh my God, that's weird. But very strange thing happened though. We were at a Chinese restaurant, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something, and we got our cookies, and I opened mine up, and there was nothing inside. It was empty, no paper. That's kind of the first time that's ever happened, and we were both kind of like, whoa, since this is a type of a thing, between us that we know about. Wow, that's awesome. Like when I do tarot, it's always accurate, but can't prove it. Well, the occult is a really, really interesting subject matter that I'm very interested in the regard of not Satanism, for example. Like when I use the word occult, I mean it in the original sense of the word of like hidden knowledge. But when people hear the word occult, they think Satanism, and I'm not. I don't do Satanism. Because things like Hermeticism are considered occult. You know, although it is not at all. Like I suppose there's possibly people that could use it in a dark magic way of some kind. For example, like Kabbalah to me is like dark Hermeticism or black magic. That's what Kabbalah is. And the sort of mystery school literature references Kabbalah a lot, because I'd say it's so largely developed and widely practiced today that, you would bring that up. And I suppose it crosses over into things like Rosicrucianism, but, you know, I'm interested in the laws of, or rather, the principles of why Kabbalah works. And the sort of natural laws that they harness. Shit, I gotta be careful here. But not being used again for black magic. You know what I'm saying? Everything has consequences. Everything has karma, and you can't do a thing without some kind of karmic repercussion. So if you're going to use black magic to harm people, then expect to get some repercussions from that. There's probably ways in which that can be delayed, even possibly infinitely. I don't know, but I feel pretty strongly like the Jewish hegemony power system that we're we're under is heavily informed by black magic. That's my personal take. Blood libel. There's a number of things. Pretty tough conversation to have for most people, I would say. We don't generally, especially in the movement, we have like Christians and pagans, but we don't really have people that know much about or are interested very much in occult matters. And I think it's a weakness of ours. I think that we have to realize we're in a kind of a spiritual warfare with our enemies. And I'm for using prayer, the power of prayer. In fact, I'm going to actually integrate that into my show. At the end of my new show that'll be starting next year, at the end of every show, I'll do a prayer and then ask the audience to join me in the prayer. And the prayer is obviously for us. It's for our people. It's not going to be, it's harnessing everyone in the movement together, single-heartedly, single-mindedly, to pray explicitly, exclusively for our people and our benefits. Bringing peace and prosperity, justice, etc. So we'll get there. The hard part of that, I discussed this with a friend of mine, is like, how do you do that without sort of offending different people's sensibilities? And the movement is kind of pretty much split between Christians and pagans. And how would you hold a prayer that both of these groups could do together? You know what I'm saying? And my answer to that is pretty simple. It's just, use your modality. Like, pray to whoever you pray to. But what we're doing is we're praying for the same thing. You get my point? So it's not my business to tell you who or how to pray per se, but I think that we stand a lot to gain by praying together for our cause, for our people. Does that make sense? What are your thoughts on that, guys? I'd like to know. Future right. Likewise, I'm not a Satanist. Yes, correct. It's hidden knowledge, esoteric, esoteric knowledge. Interesting. Edda says yes. Redefine the real definitions. Words. So occult is just hidden knowledge, but they create new definitions to words. Yeah, right. To confuse people and misuse them out of context, like fascism, for example. That's AKA spellcasting, manipulation. Totally agree with you, yes. Edda gets it. She fucking gets it. She gets it. That's my girl right there. By the way, she's going to be on my show, and I'm going to be on her show, and I'm very excited to introduce you to her and her content. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Let's read some more comments. Edda says, I researched it so that I understand how and why they do what they do. That's the best way to fight it. Good. Rexus says, I watched a guy called Patemali Sul. He's Gnostic in his worldview, despite the fact that he's Christian. There is such a thing as Christian Gnosticism, just telling you. I find his views interesting. Yes, I would consider myself a Gnostic as well. I think the split is another psyop. Right has... what is the common goals and not the focus or the differences? Bro, we got to do a show together. Can't wait. Oh, I know. I apologize. We'll figure it out in the email. We'll work it out. We're going to get there. This graphic novel's been the primary time suck. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's good, but it's time consuming. Wildo. That's Japanese for wild. In case you were wondering. All right, let's see if the wing is coming out. It'll be coming out like here. And this would be like here. Okay, very nice. Ptolemy. I don't know how to pronounce that. Ptolemy sounds familiar. It does sound familiar. Rexus says, I think I spoke about that. I want right-wing Christians and pagans to stop infighting and focus on the real enemy. Literally. I get pretty mad at people when they do the infighting. That's not acceptable. No kind. What time is it? 5 o'clock now. I have a thing at 7, and I think I probably should grab a bite. The P in Ptolemy. Yeah, so Ptolemy. Edda says it's not coincidence that out of the blue, that is the primary issue now. There has been Christians and pagans around for a while now. Right. Yeah, I hear you. We're gonna do some damage there, kiddo. Edda, you and I, we're gonna get out there. It's gonna be great. So I got 12 likes. That's nice. Anyway, so like I said, I got a party to go to. I gotta eat, shower, freshen up for the ladies. So get a little cologne on, you know what I'm talking about? Trim up the beard a little bit. Hey, get the nice duds out. Hey, how you doing? So it's going to be a wonderful night. God bless you guys. So glad you could join me for this amazing show. That's us right there. Edda and Donald Kent right there. Anyway, have a great night, gang. Love you. Thanks for joining. Please share this video in your networks. Have a good night, Kent. All right. God bless. Love you. Bye-bye.